People of the internet, it is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another video. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in. The likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you for the support. And without further ado, let's dive into today's topic, folks. Today we're talking aliens. We're talking aliens today, folks. And as you may be aware, of course, prevalent topics in regarding aliens. There's been a lot in the news as of late. Alien sightings in backyards of Las Vegas. You have military whistleblowers, right? Military whistleblower claims U.S. UFO retrieval program. The U.S. has a UFO retrieval program. And then you start to think to yourself, like, all right, what do we have here, right? Because essentially that's where I'm at. You know, as soon as you hear aliens, I think we've all grown so dumb. I'll speak for myself. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's just like, all right, bro, if you say so. You know, like, all right, bro. You know, like, all right. You know, I think in the midst of all the other things that are taking headlines these days and all the other things that we would consider, you know, real or fake news, whatever it may be, at this point, I feel like we haven't even had a time to rest. So it's just like anything you say now is not necessarily having that much shock value anymore, you know? So when I originally heard this story, I'm like, all right, this is just another hoopla, you know? But then I'm like, wait, this is right up my alley. This is right up my alley in terms of the rabbit holes I frequent, right? I always say I'm no stranger to the rabbit hole. So, of course, I've sat and thought to myself, of all the questions we try to figure out, one of them typically is our belief in aliens. Do you believe in aliens? I personally, what's my take on aliens? I believe in beings, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So when I hear aliens, right, I hear, the common westernized, Hollywood version that we see. They come in, they're green, they're short, or sometimes tall and skinny, little bobblehead, green eyes, the stuff how it's always been portrayed in our music and, movies, film, television, this and the other. So I don't necessarily know if I believe in that concept, right? And then, who's to say that that's how I think we've all just kind of culturally felt like when we hear aliens, it must look something closely relative to that, right? I, for one, actually think that there are indeed a species of something that is greater than us. I do believe so. I'm gonna use the word beings, to stray away from the stigma of what I believe aliens, the common phrase of aliens means now. I believe in beings, folks. I believe in an entity. That's another good word for it. That is just as interested in us as we're interested in them. Right? I believe in a civilization that is smarter, faster, wiser, more equipped, more knowledgeable than us, right? I've never felt like humans were the superior species on the totem pole ever, It's just like I do believe, I think humans, all we have is our, domain above the animals. That's about it. But I think we are, the players on the chessboard for a greater species. I do believe that. So if you ask me if I believe in aliens, all that to say, I kind of do. I believe in other things that have been here. That's another good question. Well, how long are they here? We've been seeing this on the news of late as if they're just now arriving. I don't think they're just now arriving. I think these beings that I'm referring to, I think they've been here as long as we've been here, if not longer, in my personal opinion. But coming from me, of course, I'm a guy that also believes in angels, right? So I believe in angels indeed. And to be completely honest, I think I even said this not too long ago. I think, honestly, in my personal opinion, I believe more, me personally, speaking for myself, I believe more in the concept of angels and demons than I do in what I think society calls aliens, what are the cases. So it's like, I believe in spirits. So maybe that's also what I'm referring to as well, too, when I mention, like, beings. I believe in spirits. I believe in angels. I believe in demons. I believe in all of that, right? So it's just like, I think that's what I kind of refer to. And I would maybe even argue that's maybe what we're all referring to when we call them aliens, right? Because alien means what? Alien essentially means like foreign to us, right? Or of non-human, biology, whatever you want to call it. So I believe in other beings, right? And I believe in spirits. I believe in, I think to be completely honest, which of course is what I would always attempt to do when I'm speaking to you guys on this channel. Ultimately, man, I do believe that there, like I said, spiritual beings have been amongst us for some time, and I feel like they are a key part of why the way things are. And I feel like I believe in this. I believe it was like there's angels, there's demons, and there's bystanders, right? Like I feel like these spirits, like there's angelic spirits, there's demonic spirits, and then there's us, right? So in my opinion, I'm sorry. So in my opinion, basically, I think, hey man, alien. I think the things that we see that are that we can't explain or we have a hard time explaining, or we just haven't proven yet, I think maybe that entity or those beings have the answers, right? So in terms of like debates of religion versus science and things of that nature, I think like honestly, there is a being that has the answers. There is a being that, I don't know, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. That's a whole nother tangent, which I'll be more than happy to go down with any of you at any time. So, that's fine. But in the concept of this video, I wanted to entertain the idea of one, do you believe in aliens? Do you not believe in aliens? And then two, let's say, for example, these stories are true, right? Then what? Right? Let's say, let's play for a second on the idea because, there's things that I feel like we don't want to be too dismissive on everything, right? Because the things that we probably should be paying attention to are probably some of the things that we already chalked away as dismissive. And we don't want to, I like to, even things like climate change and other elements of life that I maybe not fully aware of or maybe think are as much as a threat or a priority. I still don't dismiss it, right? I think we still need to leave room for all the possibilities just so we can make sure all our boxes are checked, essentially. So let's play with the idea. Let's say, for example, all these things are true. Let's say the sighting in Las Vegas. Let's say aliens did indeed go down, crash their ship in these people's backyards, this, that, and the other. Let's say this whistleblower 100% is telling the truth. Let's play with the idea that this indeed is real. My next question would be, well, then what, right? What as humans, as a human civilization, what would we do moving forward? And is there, maybe there's no answer. Is there a solution? What would be the next operative means? It's like, all right, there's aliens now. What does that do for your belief, your spiritual beliefs, right? What does that do for your existential beliefs, right? Where do you feel you rank, or how do you position yourself, or what does all of this life mean to you, if aliens are indeed a thing? I thought about that sometimes, man, because it's like, I personally believe in like angels and stuff like that. So, for those of us who read the Bible, read the Quran, or whatever the case is, does your spiritual text compensate for aliens? And maybe for the people who do believe, have religious belief, maybe you agree what I agree, or, believe, also share the same idea of that maybe these aliens are indeed the angels. Maybe you have a better time rationalizing that idea as opposed to having the same idea, of course, of just having extraterrestrial buggy animals. But nonetheless, I think essentially all that to say, man, don't put nothing past nothing, right? Like, I don't put anything past anything. Maybe aliens, am I going to say definitively, hey, man, there's no such thing as aliens, all of it is phooey? No, I'm not going to say that. But am I going to also be able to, like, hey, see both sides and say, in the event that there is, I don't know, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I'm not going to say definite either one way or the other, but it makes you think sometimes, like, all right, if they were, if we did want to entertain the idea of these aliens being real, what are we doing about it? What are we doing about it, guys? Are we all collectively dismissing aliens as a phooey, or are we going to, again, trying to implement some type of preventative maintenance in the event? Honestly, I think it'll be wise to implement some type of measure that we would put in place, and maybe, of course, is what our government is doing behind the scenes, hopefully. But then ultimately, if these beings, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't believe that I feel like whatever they were going to do, they would have done it by now. Or that maybe they've been building up to it. Who knows, right? Or maybe, like I said, maybe they're just observing us as we're observing them, or whatever the case is. But if we're in a period of time where all these sightings are indeed true, and they're now saying that aliens are indeed a thing, there's classified documents and all this is true, all right, cool. If that's the case, now what? And what does that do on how has that truth, if we want to call it that, how has that impacted your reality right now and how you plan your life and the things that are happening on this world? Because I don't know, man. I got some theories, man. I think, honestly, like I said, me personally, there's certain things that have been happening in the world as of late, man. And start your timers from like 2020, right? Because I think that's 2020 is the year that I'm always going to be referencing from Beyond, because it's like, I think that's where we all collectively can start as a, I think that's 2020 is the one year we can all unanimously agree, like, hey, madness started here, you know? So it's just like, and I'm not even talking about the 1900s, because of course, like, people would always say, like, history, it always repeats itself, things of that nature, but I don't want to go down on another rabbit hole on this video in particular. But in conclusion, right, in conclusion, I don't know, man, this alien stuff, I'm not necessarily ruling it out. I personally don't believe in the cultural, westernized Hollywood version of what aliens could be. I'm not necessarily saying I disagree, but I don't know if aliens are showing up in people's backyards. Maybe this spaceship that maybe they've been, you know, retrieving. I wouldn't put nothing past that. But honestly, I think there are indeed entities. There is something that we are less than. There is something that I think we are inferior to. Had they been here for this entire time, I personally think so. But yeah, again, I think there are indeed a species or an entity that is just as interested in us as we're interested in it. That's my take, folks. Drop your comments down in the comment section below. What do you make of all of this stuff, man? Is it all hoopla to you? Aliens and whistleblowers and government spacecrafts and backyard shenanigans. What do you make of it, folks? Is it hoopla? Do you believe it? Educate me. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, it's always greatly appreciated. I will catch you guys on the next one.